When we're doing painting and drawings, many people pay so much attention to the small details. When they started painting, they're directly going into the small detail. And they forget the contrast between the big areas. It is the one to create the biggest impact for the painting. This is one of our members' painting.
Seeing the details on the ground, it looks great. But you are missing something. What is missing? The value, contrast between the background and the main object. Do you see, compare this color with the bird's head and this baby bird? How much contrast between that? Enough contrast to make the bird to stand out. Now take a look over here. Do you make the same contrast? And maybe that kind of value to be washed over the entire background. Try that. You need to pay more attention between the big masses.
Now I want to show you how I would do it in the watercolor painting process to avoid into the small details too early. So the first thing we're going to paint this bird is use a large brush. I'm going to use this 1-inch broad brush. I'm going to mix a darker color for the background. You can change the background color if you want. I just see this color. It could be perfect. I'm making sure I have it dark enough. I'm going to have this color and then make a little blue in here. Now it's a little bit neutral. Like let's see. Let's plan on where it's going to be the bird. I'm going to move the bird a little bit higher right over here. Now that's good, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to paint this around the space of the bird. Like that. Look at that. And then you can paint it like this roughly. And the front is about this much. Like that. That's the bird. And the little bird over here. Like that. I'm going to leave. And there's underneath the mouth of the bigger bird is have a little gap like that. Okay, it's just paint in this, just leave this space for the bird so that I can have some contrast, some detail. But I don't want to paint in the bird first. Instead, I'm going to paint it, create the big composition. The big composition create the biggest impact. It's important. So I'm going to make this into the background, except I'm going to add a little yellow color too. Now the outside is all wet, so the color would merge together nicely. You can see that right over here. Okay, like that. And I'm gonna come. There's a little stick over here. It actually darker. It's actually darker than the background, so it's okay. I'll come back to use a little darker color for that when we paint. So the first thing you want to always working on the big composition, the bigger area. And when it's wet, you can add other color to it and make any changes that you want. Okay. If you're painting, start from the smaller area and later I try to rebalance it. It's much harder because most of the time you're going to forget. Especially when you paint a little bit longer painting, later you lose the energy, and painting the bigger connection, it takes lots of energy. At the front over here, I'm going to give a little fresh color, a little bit red. I'm going to, because this is pretty close to us, and the background is a little bit farther away from us. So I'm going to just put a little, just the primary colors as I see. Just put it right over here, like that. So at this point, you also can splash some water into it, so make it some soft feeling if you want. Let it dry for a little bit, and we'll come back to start working into the main object. The paper is close to dry. Now I come back over here, start painting into the bird. Because I cover the outside first, so immediately create the impact from the whole background contrast to the main objects. First, I'm gonna set a little colors into the bird first. And on the back, I can see a little brown color, the warm, a little brown color, like start from the neck over here, coming down. I still see the big area first before seeing the smaller area. So because this is a bigger area, right over here, there's the whole body over here. And leave the bottom over here have a little white shape. So working from biggest to smaller and smaller. Right now is a little smaller than what we had before, right? Now we're going into a little bit smaller now. Okay, now down here I'm gonna have a little bit lighter, like that. If you can simplify it in your mind for each painting, you can say, okay, this is what I'm going to do first, this is what I'm going to do second. Put it into steps. I'm going to have the color a little bit fresh on the little bird and have a little bit yellow and red, make a little fresh orange. I'm going to have it like that. And maybe a little color over here. You can change something if you want. You make it a little bit more interesting. That is fine. Okay. The bird over here. Oh, look at the outside. It's still wet. That's okay. And now looking over here. Now I'm going to look at the back, the top of the little bird, like that. And I can see on the mother bird over here in the head. I set a little color over here and a little color on the top of the head, like that. And have a little bit small shape down here, like that. And the mother bird, the front actually start over here, like that. This can be part of the background. So like that. Now after you do this, you can see anything you want to change from here, and you see a little much better. You can do some adjustment. On the back over here, also going to have a little blue colors and a little red shade blue coming over here, and see a little plant. I'm going to add the brown color. Here you go. Like that. Have a little bit brighter brown colors. So we'll just mix that with yellow and red and add a little bit blue, but a little bit more red. Here you go. This color a little bit brighter, like that. So now this is the time that you see something that you need to change, that you want to do a little adjustment. And put this color. I can put the tails a little bit longer, like that. Okay, now I want to lift up some color, like the top over here. I can just believe you can do it, and you can do it. So okay, just soften it. So lift up the color. Now the mouth over here, I can lift up a little color over here too. Like that. That's good. And after that dry, I put the orange color into the mouth, and that will look good. And the top over here, I'm going to make this a little bit softer. Okay, like that. Okay, that's good. I'm going to lift this a little bit softer. There's the feather of the little bird. Just put it soft. So I'm going to lift up this color, make it a little bit lighter. Okay, now Looking at anything on the top over here, I also need to lift up, make it a little bit softer, connect to the background. Like that. I'm going to make this color a little bit lighter. So be patient, trust that you can do it, and you could. Now I come into the back over here, yet a little blue color, and actually this a little bit French ultramarine blue, which is a little bit warmer. You see that how soft the color, and you don't need to have a lot of contrast, because that should not be the focal point of the focal point. And a little bit soft color. If you don't have that colors, and I can let you to use my color to try it. Okay, over here a little bit separation into that, and I can add a little bit smaller shape now. After you take care of the bigger shape, a little smaller shape. Now put it under here, a little smaller changes. And now looking at the top over here is still a little wet, so I don't touch it yet. On the back over here, I can give a little bit shape for the feather, like that. And then looking at the bottom over here, I need to give it a little bit darker under the back over here, like that. And a little suggestions on the feather, a little bit. Or you can also using lifting off to have some area a little bit lighter too. You just use the water with this sable brush or any round brush that you have. Now you can, painting is not always to try to add color, and sometimes you need to lift color. That's what the lifting off technique is really great for. So you can use the lifting off to create the detail, the suggestions, and the imagination. Okay, that's good. On the back over here too, also lift a little bit, like that. Now this is good. After we're doing this, we come to the mouth and add a little bright orange color. I'm gonna come here to have a little bright orange color, like that. Okay, there's a little bird over here, the mouth. I also give a little bit, and not so much. Okay, now you can see the painting get closer and closer to finish. Now I'm going to leave this alone, come out. I'm going to give a little suggestions for the focal point area. Coming over here to give a little touch over here, and also give a little bit the texture in here. So I'm going to tap a little bit, have the texture. Want to just use this big brush. I'm going to just give a little suggestions for the objects at the front over here. And I'm going to open it up like this. Give a little suggestions at the front over here. That's a little bit closer to us. So I'm going to soften it so that it look a little bit more dynamic. Also lose the focus. So when you use the photo reference, you don't have to copy exactly what the photo reference look like. Now, after we're doing this, we're going to come back to do the darkest point in the main objects. I'm going to use the red and darker blue color. Now you're ready. Come back over here. Take a look, and the head here, the top here, a little bit darker on the top. Okay, look at the eye right over here. It's just you have to do it step by step, okay? If you try to do everything at once, it never work. On the mouth here, let's take a look. And the tip over here, a little bit darker. Like that. And the neck over here, that it will look very focused. And now I'm gonna come to the baby bird, and look at the mouth right over here, like that. That's good.
and the eye right in this location, and leave a little highlight inside the eye like that. Looks good. It's very easy to suggest it. Now on the neck over here, I need to make a little bit wet. Let it like a little bit more like a feather. Then a little too dry, it may not work. And the top of the head, just a little more, a little bit softer, and add a few strokes. Because this is the main objects, we want it to be a little bit clear, a little bit more sharper contrast on the back over here. Like that. Okay, like that. And now I come back to the back over here, have a little bit warm, a red shade blue color. I'm gonna have it even a little bit darker than this. Like that. And then on the tip over here, maybe a little bit darker, coming this way. Now let's take a look at anything else we need to also do the final touch. Like the baby bird over here, I'm gonna have a little bit darker underneath the chin over here, a few lines. The first round, we make the background much darker so that the focus now is on the birds. So after we create the suggestions for the details on the bird, and the paintings almost look finished. And the top over here, I'm going to add a little color to it. Right? I'm going to even have a little bit brown color on the top over here, like that. That's the top. And a little bit on the face here. Like that. Okay. A little bit sharper suggestions on the feather. Okay. And I want to connect this gap into the land to the ground. So I'm going to take this color now. I'm going to get it from here. I need to reorganize this into the foreground. Okay, like that. I'm going to tap on it so I even have a little bit darker. Like that. I'm going to use the largest brush. I'm going to have a little bit blue colors for the front. I'm going to organize it. I think this would look a little bit more cohesive together as a one consistent area, a little bit closer to us. But over here, I'm going to also have a little bit detail on the ground, and so on. So at the end, we always can use the large brush to reorganize things.
Now you can see there's a process can help us to first focus on the bigger connection, the bigger relationship, the bigger masses before we get into the small details. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and click the like and share it. See you in my next video.